Hi again then guys, and so we've got another Gran Turismo 6 drag spec setup for you today, and this time it's for the 2002 version of Audi's RS6, and this is the saloon bodied version rather than the wagon, although this tune setup does work essentially the same for the wagon as well. I'm using racing soft tyres, but I know everyone has their own preference when it comes to drag racing. For brakes I've increased the front balance to 6, but again that's just personal preference. For ride height, we've increased it to 140 front and rear. Springs we've reduced down to 875 and 675. For the dampers, on compression we've got 3 on the front, 1 on the rear, and 3 for both on extension. Anti-roll as high as possible, with neutral camber and toe. For the gearbox, an auto setting of 230. Then for the individual gears, we've got 3.8, 2.2, 1550, 1175, 950 and 775. With a final drive of 2.7. For the diff, the highest initial torque for that explosive all-wheel drive launch, high acceleration and low braking with a torque split of 30-70. You may want to increase that torque split closer to a 50-50 split if you plan to use this on, for instance, the Indy drag, because that track has less grip than Special Stage Route X, and cars tend to wheel spin more. All the power upgrades, of course, and I will be using NOS on this run, and of course you want the full weight loss package. Traction control is turned off, and I would always recommend turning off for drag racing, and as with most of my drag tunes I will be using an auto box, although of course if you do choose to use a manual you can potentially be quicker. So I would recommend this more as a shorter distance drag tune, because top end, it's not bad top end, but it's just not as strong as it is low end and mid-range. It's very good low end, pretty good mid-range, but it peters off quite dramatically top end. So as always, we're putting up against a car with superior specs to see how it compares in real drag situations. So we're putting up against the Supra, around 100 horsepower more, significantly less weight. Obviously the Supra doesn't have all-wheel drive, so let's see how they compare. Now off the line, of course, the immediate result is obviously always going to be in favour of the all-wheel drive. But I was actually personally surprised by how long this Audi can actually stay ahead of the Supra. I was expecting the Supra to start catching it by the end of the quarter mile, but as you can see, it manages to hold it off for almost a full mile, or 1600 metres. Not quite, but almost. So as I said, very strong low end, pretty good mid-range, but once you get up to like the mile or longer than that, say 2,000 metres or more, it's not as strong. It immediately starts to lose momentum in the higher range of speeds. Pretty much anything above 200, it starts to lose momentum. It's still a fast car for sure, but within a very limited range, only against other vehicles of a similar power. So as far as when to use the car, fairly obvious really. I'd recommend using it for anything from the quarter mile up to say 2,000 metres at the most. So overall it's a car which is a little bit, it's not severely underappreciated, but a little bit underappreciated for drag racing. Most people tend to go for the more obvious choice, the newer shape RS6, which is a faster car, but sometimes it's nice to just use something a little bit different, even if it's not necessarily all-conqueringly bad or all-conqueringly good. I personally prefer to use cars that are different just for the sake of it, even if it means that I don't necessarily win. However, this car is certainly capable of winning short-range drag races in particular. It does 0 to 60 in 1.5 seconds, 0 to 100 in 3.2. It will do the quarter mile in 8.3 seconds, and it'll even cover the standing mile in just under 21 seconds, so it's certainly no slouch. I have put specs for longer distance drags in the description below for you to check those out if you need to, but like I said, I wouldn't really recommend trying to take on that many opponents with this in a longer range drag. It has the top speed, but it just takes a while to get there compared to some. So if you decide to use this tune for this Raubtier RS6 or Predator, then I hope you find it fun, of course, and competitive. And if you're new to the channel and would like to see tunes like this as soon as they come out, I put out new drag tunes every weekend, incidentally, then be sure to hit that subscribe button to get them as soon as they're released. And as always, Thanks for watching.